Our reading this morning comes from the Reverend Kelly Asbruth Jackson, who serves the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Madison. It's called The Church That Doesn't Matter. In the church that doesn't matter, there are no quarrels, no arguments. No one ever says anything they regret at the meeting to discuss the sanctuary's new paint color. There's nothing to inspire such passionate intensity because none of the decisions in the church touch anyone's heart. Everything is easy as pie. In the church that doesn't matter, no one has to ask for money or talk about it much. There's always enough because no matter how much there is, there's always less to do with it than that. The vision always shrinks to undermatch the means. In the church that doesn't matter, no one ever disagrees with the preacher's sermon. The music is always just fine. There's never a fight about the liturgy, not even if they do joys and sorrows, not even if they stop doing joys and sorrows. There's never any controversy because no one ever says anything they really care about. No one else ever seems to care. And so the service is always equally unoffensive at both 9 a.m. and 10:45. The recruitment of religious education volunteers, the sounds of children in service, the size and space of the RE wing, none of these things matters because none of these things are thought about or talked about in the church that doesn't matter. No one ever has to clean up in the church that doesn't matter or figure out the old electrical system or climb a ladder. If no one bothers to make coffee, no one complains. If no one greets the visitors, no one minds. Everything is easier in the church that doesn't matter. The total solution to the frustrations of congregational life is simple. Simply avoid at all costs meaning and purpose, and anything that might lead you to either or both. Whatever you do, do not let yourself care about the people around you or the covenant that you share. So today we are embarking on a new program year, a new year of services and programs and themes. And the overarching theme for the entire year is going to be founded on the new 7 values that are sort of the rewrite of the 7 UU principles that have been proposed and edited and proposed again, voted on and edited and voted again. But this coming summer, next summer, is when they will do the final vote to actually adopt these new 7 values. And if you recall, we've shown them a few times, they're arranged like a web or maybe a flower with the 6 values around the outside and love at the center. And that is what we're calling our whole focus of our program year, love at the center. The UUA's new statement says this about love, quote, "Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love." And so each month here, that's the whole year, love at the center, but then each month we're going to be looking at the different parts of those values. This month, September, we're focusing on welcome, or as Hannah and I decided, we're going to call the Sunday services all in, which is just more fun to say than welcome. So when Steve, our former music director, was here, he used to tease me because I would say, here's the thing. Ready? Here's the thing about our religious faith. That's like a scavenger hunt. You can see if you can find the here's the thing in every sermon. Here's the thing about our religious faith is that it is different than what many of us experienced in our childhood religious homes or what we experience on a daily basis here in our society. Our faith is covenantal. Kelly Asbruth Jackson, in the reading we just heard, ends with that note. He says, if you don't Want things to be hard, don't pay attention to your covenant. Unitarian Universalism is often painted by those outside our walls, I'm looking at you, Garrison Keeler, as a anything goes, anything you want to believe faith. And in fact, who are we kidding? It's often painted by some of us inside our walls as that as well. But it's not true. We are not an anything and everything faith. We are, as I like to say from time to time, a thing. Unitarian Universalism is a thing. It's its own thing. It has things about it that are different from other religions. It's not just a mishmash of other people's beliefs. And this thing, this covenantal thing, is one of those things. Covenant is a fancy religious word. It means promise. It means the promise that we make to our community, to the people around us, and to God. Or in our case, if the metaphor of God doesn't work for you, the promises that we make to our highest values, to the largest whole, which holds us all. So a covenant is not just rules. A covenant is an agreement of how we're going to be together and be, as our new value statement says, how we are going to be accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. So you might say our faith is relational. That's another way of thinking about this thing that is unique to our tradition. The relationships that we build, both to our values and to the people in our groups and committees and those we sit beside and drink our coffee beside, those relationships matter. For those who grew up in a different kind of faith, there might have been a different emphasis. Many faiths are sacramental, which means that the sacraments are what matter. Catholic priests, for example, go to seminary and they spend a huge amount of time learning the sacraments, learning how to offer the sacraments. Communion, baptism, in Judaism, fasts, feasts, holy days. There's nothing wrong with sacramental faith. It's a very important kind of faith for many people, but we are not a sacramental faith. It's just not our thing. But some people I have found try that here. Maybe out of force of habit or cultural conditioning, people try to relate to this fellowship as if it were sacramental and not covenantal. They maybe come once a year. They don't connect or serve in any way. They don't have relationships with anyone here. They don't commit any time or talent or financial resources to the fellowship. But then they call when there's a crisis. And they expect the ministers to A, know them, and B, drop everything to go offer pastoral care. Now, don't get me wrong, I love people. I hurt for those people when I get those calls. I wish I had unlimited hours to go and offer support to everyone who needs it, but I'm a minister. I serve this congregation. I'm not a sacramental minister. I'm a covenantal one. I can't swing by the hospital and offer last rites. I don't know how to offer last rites. It's not a thing I know. But if you have made some effort, then I will have a relationship with you. Or Reverend Hannah will, or someone on our care team will. One of us will be able to visit you at your bedside and have a meaningful conversation with you. That we know how to do. Or we will know what songs you loved so we can sing them to you. Or we can offer comfort to your family. This is not about guilt or shame. Everyone has their own levels of ability to connect at any given time. But if you want to get anything out of this, the relationships are what matter. In other words, our brand of religious community is not transactional. Maybe my sacramental metaphor didn't mean anything to you, but maybe this one will. We live in a consumerist society. Now, I love DoorDash as much as the next person. We're used to being able to go on our phones and order up whatever we want, customized to our liking for pickup immediately or delivery to our doorstep within 24 hours. That's fun. I like it. I like Starbucks. But religious communities like ours, they just don't work like that. You cannot order up spiritual health or connection or meaning making. So many people in our world are desperate for that. But it requires creation. We have to work. And here at the fellowship, we believe that that work happens together in community, alongside other people. You don't get to choose who you polka with. It happens in covenant, through the spiritual discipline of love. Now, I had a conversation not that long ago. I was at Pride, the Pride Festival. We were offering, we had a booth. Did anyone stop by our booth? It was so much fun. Yes, it was great. We were offering glitter blessings, and someone stopped by, and they sort of, sheepishly admitted to me that they hadn't been around the fellowship in a really long time. And I said, oh, that's great. It's fine. It's nice to meet you. Come on by anytime. Or, I see that you have children. I get it. Maybe on Sunday morning when you're folding laundry, you could flip on the, online service and participate that way. And they said, well, I still give my money every month. Doesn't that matter? I mean, I guess. I deeply appreciate your giving, I said, but I would hope that you might get something out of it, that you might actually receive in return. And that's why I want you to make this connection important, because you don't get anything out of it if you don't come, if you don't meet people, if you don't connect in some way. It's not for me, although I would love to meet you. It's for you. We're saying this month that we are all in, and that has multiple meanings. One is the truth that our universalist faith affirms, that you are already welcome here. No matter what you do, no matter what you've done, you don't have to earn it, you don't have to repent. You are already a treasure. You are already guaranteed worth and dignity no matter what you do. That is what we're saying. You are already in. Isn't that beautiful? But we need each other to help make that real, to make us know it and feel it and practice it, to honor the treasure in others, to hold each other in times of celebration and pain, to create relationships that have depth, to collectively raise our children. I have 2 children. I need help. Please help me raise my children. We need each other to make our world a better place. It's not going to do it on its own. In order to make that truth that we already know real, we have to act like we are all in. Like this community matters. Like we are living with love at the center. Not only for ourselves, but for each other and for those who have yet to find us. So I'd like to share one more reading with you this morning. This one is a poem by the Reverend Sean Parker Dennison. It's entitled, Love is too big for one poem. Love is too much for one poem. It bears repetition, needs it to get to all its complexities, the things that make you wonder if anyone believes it or begins to fathom it at all. How could they? Things are never what they seem, never what one hopes when love is involved. All the possibilities are only that, only things that could be. And nothing really endures because love changes us all, every one of us. Things are never what they seem. 3 + 3 is suddenly 7, and things that were are no longer, and yet we endure because we long for love and keep faith with it beyond all boundaries, all hope, all reason. Love is too much for one poem, but still we try. We cannot help ourselves. The subject demands it of us, demands our greatest effort, the work of an entire lifetime. Though we know these words will never be enough and our effort is destined for failure, still we capture what we can and love. It's not easy holding love at the center. It would be easier if nothing mattered. But by being all in, we can be a transformative home for so many. May that be so. Amen.